Hey guys, Jimmy from WhichWay here. Welcome to Punch the Controller, episode 5. I am your host, Jimmy. Let's get straight into today's episode. So UFC Fight Night Cannonier versus Borralho. I said that really weird. Borralho, however you pronounce his last name. Borralho. Yes, kind of like that. Fun night of fights, fun day of fights, I should say. Let's get into it. I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights. So let's get into them. Obviously, for those who have watched the previous episodes, I don't talk about every single fight because that would take too long, and I'm not interested in every single fight. So, So let's get straight into it. The first fight we have is Borralho versus Yon. I'm pretty sure they pronounced it like Yon Top, but it's, spelt with an L, Lon Top. So we'll go James. His first name is James, so let's go with that. So Borralho versus James. This was a really fun fight to watch. I had Borralho going into this fight, and Borralho won. So one of our first picks got up. As I was watching the fight, I was kind of seeing who had the more experience going into the fight. I had not heard of James before. I believe it could be his first time or, a few fights into the UFC for him, whereas Borralho has been in the UFC before. So I believe Borralho had more experience in the UFC than James. When they were getting into the clinch, I was noticing a lot of elbows from Borralho, so that was really fun to watch. I think James got off to a bit of a slow start, but he was doing well. Where was I? James got off to a slow start, but he was doing well in the fight. By the end of the fight, it was kind of, it could have very well been fight of the night. I thought it was going to be fight of the night, although it was only the start of the card. So, there were plenty of fights after that could have been fight of the night. But I really enjoyed this fight. There was a bit of a controversial moment in this fight. There was an eye poke, and the ref, Cannonier, was a bit slow, in my opinion, to getting to the eye poke. But, I will say now, Cannonier is definitely not my favorite ref by any means. My favorite ref is... Oh my god. I forgot his name. Anyway, I'll remember his name, but anyway. Chris is not my favorite ref by any means. When it came to round 2, a very nice aggressive start for both fighters. They came out swinging, so that was great to see. I haven't seen enough fights from Borralho to note what I know from him, but through this fight, he had a lot of great combos, throwing a lot of great combinations. It's pretty good kickboxing, I believe, because he was throwing kicks and punches, so, kickboxing. So, great combos. Whenever they were throwing and having their exchanges, they were great. Borralho definitely, like I said at the start, Borralho definitely looked like he was the more experienced guy. But apparently James was, I don't know, he's a contender, or quite a few people were looking out for him, so there's that. And another thing to note as well, I don't think there was one single takedown attempt I really don't want to say there was. I'm trying to remember now, but yeah, I think it was all pretty much stand and bang. I think I could be wrong, but yeah, I didn't see a takedown. There might have been a takedown attempt, but I didn't see an actual takedown. So Borralho has got some power, but James did not go down. James has a chin on him. He should be very proud of that, and I think he'll do really well in the UFC. I think I've got to look at his record, but yeah, I didn't mind what I saw from him. I'm becoming a good big fan of Borralho, so can't wait to see what's next for him. So yeah, that's it from that fight. So moving on to the next fight. Yeah, that seems right. We've got the main card start with Edmund Shabazian and Gerald Meerschaert. Sorry. Middleweight fight. I'm not as big of a fan as the middleweights. It depends on who's fighting. Like if it's top 5 middleweights, then yeah. Oh, I think I'll enjoy it. But I will say now that Edmund Shabazian used to be one of my favorite fighters. I say used to be. He kind of fell off for me, unfortunately. He was supposed to be, the next big thing at middleweight. You'll hear a lot of people say. And as of lately, he's just been a bit disappointing to me. Like, he's still a great fighter to me. I still like him a lot. He did change gyms, fight camps, teams. One of those, but yeah, he was no longer with his old coach. I'm not too sure what gym he's at now. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, he underwent a lot of changes, and I thought that was for the better of him. He won against a fighter, I can't remember his name, and then he went on to fight AJ Dobson, won that fight. So yeah, he's definitely improved as a fighter, but I still think he needs improvement in some areas. Going into this fight, I had Edmund Shabazian. I lost. Edmund was doing well. He was doing well until he wasn't. I was expecting a finish from either of these guys, not just Edmund. Gerald is known for submissions, tying up those rear naked chokes and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't surprised that Gerald got the finish. I honestly thought Edmund was going to get the finish, maybe in a late round 2 or 3. At the start of the fight, beginning of the fight, Edmund was looking really good. He did look improved in his... He's always had great hands that I've seen from him. The only thing I wanted him to work on and improve was his cardio. He always... I'm not too sure if he said it. I believe he said it after the fight, thanking all his friends and family and fans for support, that when he goes for the finish, he gasses, and so that's kind of what led to his defeat against Gerald. Yeah, Edmund was looking good on the feet. It didn't look like Gerald had an answer. I'm not a big fan of Gerald's striking. It does not suit him. Although, yeah, I mean, you're in the UFC, you're doing MMA, you have to do striking. But I don't really like Gerald as a fighter. Don't really like him as a person. No, I'm just kidding. Got nothing against the guy, but yeah, just not a big fan of him. There was a low blow late in round 1 from Gerald. Didn't think too much of it. Fight continued onward. But yeah, there was that. I cannot recall if Edmund hurt Gerald with a knee or if it was a hook of some kind. But Gerald went to the ground and Edmund pretty much pounced on him to, try and finish him off with some ground and pound, which I thought was working, but apparently he was missing a lot of his strikes, and I don't know. It looked like I thought the fight was going to be finished. I really did. But yeah, I thought the ref should have pulled him off, but I guess not. But yeah, Gerald won by sub. He took his time with it, and it paid off for him. It was a sad. It's sad to see Edmund losing again. Edmund is kind of on a rocky path now, it would seem. But I don't know what's next for Edmund. He's definitely not going to get cut by any means, I don't think. But I do think maybe we need to see if it's time for Edmund to. I don't know if Edmund will be a top contender anymore. I mean, like I said at the start, he was supposed to be this next big thing at middleweight, and I just don't see it happening anymore. That's just me, though. I mean, it is sad to see, but yeah. As for what's next for Gerald, I don't know. He's a tough guy. He's a vet in the sport by now. I think he's one of those guys that is a company man. He'll stick around for as long as he needs to fight anyone that they put him against. And I think he'll oblige by that. But yeah, hopefully this was very winnable for Edmund, and I'm just a bit disappointed because it's Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, I'm kind of one to count him out. But yeah, we'll see what's next for both fighters. Yeah, sad time. But moving on. Now, this was a fun fight for as long as it lasted. We have Neil Magny versus Michael Morales. This was a welterweight bout. Going into this, I had Michael Morales, and he won against TKO, I believe it was. It wasn't a straight flush knockout. Going into this, Michael was undefeated. He is one of those fighters with an insane record as well. High teen win. 16 wins, 0 losses, something like that. But yeah, this it was a tough test for both fighters. Neil Magny, call him what you want, but he is kind of a welterweight gatekeeper in my eyes. I'm by no means, I'm not a Neil Magny guy. I'm only starting to just get on the Morales hype train. He's definitely proved himself by now. And man, he did not need that much time. I can't remember what time it did start. Can't remember what time the fight did get finished. But yeah, we could have had a situation where, very unlikely though, but where, where Michael was, beating him on points, and maybe it was round 2 or 3, and then, Neil Magny could have come back with, I don't know, a sub or TKO or something. Very unlikely, but we could have had one of those situations. But in my eyes, and I think a lot of people's eyes, Michael would have ran through Magny, and that was pretty much the case from what I saw. So I think Neil is known for his wrestling, and that's what we saw a lot from him. His wrestling Michael against the cage, and then eventually, when it was, I think they were standing up in the clinch or against the fence, Michael landed a huge spinning elbow against Magny, and that pretty much set him down to the point where the fight was going to be finished, and it pretty much was. It was a bit of vicious ground and pound from what I remember, and that was it, pretty much over. That was it for Magny. Come tomorrow, as I'm recording this, or the next day, Morales will be ranked. He was ranked 11 or 12, I want to say. But yeah, Morales passed with flying colors. I kind of enjoy his fighting style now, so I'll definitely have to keep an eye out on Michael. He is slowly becoming an exciting fighter in my eyes. And I say slowly, but from his past performances, he's looked really incredible. So I'm pretty much now a fan, is what I'm saying. So he did move on to that was his 17th win. I'm not too sure in the UFC, but his record is now 17-0. Again, that's insane record. 17-0. It's insane to me. You don't see that every day in the UFC. But I do believe he can bring a lot of excitement to the welterweight division. One of my favorite fighters, Jack Della Maddalena, is a welterweight, and he's top 5 now. So there are some crazy matchups to be made at welterweight. So welterweight is slowly becoming more of a favorite than middleweight for me, is because for those who have listened to the previous episodes, my favorite weight class is bantamweight, and then feather, and then most likely welterweight. So can't wait to see what's next for him. I'm sure he'll get an insane matchup. There's only insane matchups for him now. So as for Neil Magny, I think he will continue to be a gatekeeper. I'm not too sure how old he is. And no, I'm not going to put respect on his name. I don't like Magny. Not a big fan. So, but that's just me. Got nothing personal against the guy. So we'll see what's next for him. I'm sure he'll get a good matchup anyway. Next time he's in the octagon. So moving on, this was a bit of a weird fight for me. It was the Ultimate Fighter featherweight final between Khan Offley, I believe that's how you say it, versus Myron Santos. I was looking forward to this fight. Mind you guys, I did not watch this season of The Ultimate Fighter for obvious reasons. Mostly because the coaches. But yeah, this was the final. I had Offley going into this. It wasn't a pick of mine because I didn't really know either guy. I did look up, did my research a bit on Offley. Apparently he's one of our Aussie boys, but he's also Turkish. I probably got that wrong, but he's like half and half, something like that. But yeah, I had Offley going into this, and I lost that with great pleasure. I say great pleasure because it was an insane knockout, insane way to finish the fight. But starting off with the fight, it was very aggressive from both fighters. They pretty much put their foot on the gas. Start off with Santos was off to a great start. I don't think Offley... I think one of the commentators said it as well. Offley looked like a big ball of nervous energy. And he just wasn't finding his way with Santos. So I definitely think Santos was winning. And up until the knockout, I believe he was. Offley needed to gain respect, and he just wasn't. I think Santos was doing everything right, everything he needed to. So the first round went to Santos. And then it was, it must have been a round 2 finish. Because the fight didn't last as long as I was aiming for it to last. Like, it could have very well gone all 3 rounds. But yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the knockout, I do suggest you go watch it on YouTube or a YouTube short or something. But yeah, it was one of the more devastating knockouts that I've seen from the Ultimate Fighter fighters finale. But yeah, I was pretty sad when Offley got knocked out. It had to be because there were a few knockouts, TKOs on the night. Yeah, but I think that had to be the most dangerous, devastating one. So yeah, it was pretty insane to see. I was expecting a lot more from Offley. I didn't see his performances on The Ultimate Fighter this season, but for some reason, yeah, I was expecting more. He did look nervous, but again, I didn't see his performances, so I'm interested in him. I'm still interested. I'm actually interested in both fighters, so we'll see what's next for both of them. And yeah, that was Offley versus Santos. Moving on to the next fight, we have Robert Valentin versus Ryan Loder. This was the middleweight Ultimate Fighter finale. Now, going into this, I had Valentin. Valentin, from what I saw, was again, I didn't see any of these guys' performances on The Ultimate Fighter, but Robert was one of those. How do I say? Like he has that kind of Yuri Prohaska vibe to him. You know, he looks like a Viking. You know, he's wild like that. He has that kind of wild karate stance and stuff like that, from what I saw at least. So he was a cool guy. So a very humorous guy from what I saw. But yeah, had Valentin going to this. Sadly, I lost this one as well. From the get-go, the fighters were not going for striking, that's for sure. We had some great scrambles. I think that, yeah, the most exciting part of this fight was the scrambles. So, yeah, great scrambles from both fighters. They were both fighting for the submission. 1 minute, Robert is on top. The next minute, Ryan's on top, or behind. So, it was pretty cool to see. Ryan was constantly... I can't remember who got it first, but I think Ryan was escaping some of Robert's chokes and stuff. So, yeah, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of striking in this fight. It was mostly on the ground and a lot of scrambles and stuff. And then the fight was over, I'm pretty sure. I think it was a round 1 finish as well. But yeah, Loder won by TKO, I believe. Yeah, TKO. And the fashion in which Loder did it was pretty cool. He had Robert pinned to the ground, kind of. It was like almost I don't want to say a crucifix, but it was kind of like his arm was out, and then Loder had his arm pinned in between his legs or something like that. But yeah, it was a fun fight while it lasted, and whilst I am a striking guy, I did enjoy this scramble. So yeah, it was great to see from both guys. Even though Valentin lost this fight, I believe he will still be in the UFC. I did see his knockouts, I think, even though I didn't see his performances. They did show the replays of the knockouts on The Ultimate Fighter and stuff. So, and I liked what I saw. So, yeah, I hope he is in the UFC, and yeah, can't wait to see what's next from him. And yeah, I wish nothing but the best for both guys. Now, moving on to the main event of the evening. I have a lot to talk about in this fight. We've got Jared Cannonier versus Caio Borralho. This was a middleweight bout. Going into this, I had Caio, and what very much could have been an either way fight, we did get this pick right, so good on us. Man, where do I even begin? Big test for Caio. Jared, I do like Jared a lot. He's fought everyone of the division. Starting off the fight, there was an early eye poke from Kaio. Kind of had Jared blinking it out. So I wasn't too worried. But I don't think it was a serious eye poke. I think it was just a little one. There was a lot of feints from both fighters, just trying to draw out some big attacks. We know that Jared can swing really big from his previous fights, and that can kind of deter him from winning. It can kind of gas him out, if you will. Kaio was having a lot of success with his leg kicks. They were almost, do I want to say debilitating? They were definitely affecting Jared's legs, and I think he threw a few head kicks as well. Just trying to remember, possibly. But I definitely think Kaio took the first round. This fight was pretty much non-stop after round one. Like it was just all action from what I can remember. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We need more of that. So come round two, Jared got off to a better start. I think he had that urgency. He must have had that urgency from his corner and his coaches. So good on him. Definitely came out better. Round two, round three, I think Kaio wasn't moving as well on the feet. He was a bit more stationary. Jared must have done something, or I don't know. Kaio was looking gassed, but he kind of wasn't. Maybe it was just the sweat and everything coming off of him. But yeah, he just wasn't moving as well, wasn't as active. And then going to the third round, it was 1 apiece for those who were watching. I believe it was 1-1 going into the third. But yeah, Kaio just wasn't looking as good as he did round one. So maybe he got a feel for what Jared Cannonier was like in the octagon. There was a big 1-2 from Kaio. I think there was multiple 1-2s from Kaio, especially in the fifth round. But before that, there was a pretty devastating. Actually, I don't want to say devastating. It was just a 1-2 that stumbled Jared. And I think he pretty much didn't see that coming. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable fight. It did get fight of the night, so very much so. It was a lot of back and forth. It was so back and forth to the fact where I couldn't keep up with the scoring. It was that competitive. So, and then I think the commentators spotted it because I wasn't really focused on it as much. Kaio had a cut under his right eye, I believe. Yeah, it was his right eye, but then I heard someone say it was above his right eye. I saw it under his right eye, so I don't know what they were talking about. But maybe he had another cut or something like that. But yeah, really enjoyable fight. It couldn't be a closer fight in my eyes. Really hard to score, but I think the thing that secured it most for Kaio was the fifth round. I think, yeah, I actually saw it back. It was another 1-2 that put Jared down, kind of stumbled down and went backwards and stuff like that. So, but yeah, what a fight, man! It was a great fight. One of the more enjoyable middleweight fights of recent memory, except for the Izzy and Duplessis fight. I really enjoyed that as well. But yeah, this fight was good for it being an Apex fight and a fight night. So yeah. After the fight, Kaio called out Duplessis, I believe. Now, I don't know what I want to say about this call out. Do I like it? I don't know. I don't really like this call out. I don't think it's necessary, at least not yet. I think Kaya has a bit of work to do in order to move up those rankings. Even though he's pretty much up there now, I think he needs one more fight, one or two, before he can get to the title. And then we'll see where we go from there. Then I believe he should have Du Plessis. But yeah, maybe not straight off the bat, because I think that's a bit could be dangerous. It is a fight I would like to see, but not just yet, I don't think, in my eyes. So yeah, there's that one for that fight. Overall, I think it was a good fight night. I think the very first fight started with it was a knockout as well. So yeah, good way to start the fights. But yeah, I'm not necessarily disappointed. It definitely was not the worst fight night by any means, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I did. So yeah. All right, so moving on. This is the section that I like to call the actually it doesn't really have a name, but it's the video game section. So definitely one of my favorite parts of the podcast. So yeah. So in terms of video games, this week in the coming weeks as well, you guys know that I've been playing Valorant. It's all I've been playing. It's all I've been trying to learn. It's all I've been streaming. Yeah, it's definitely one of those games where I actually saw someone. It's one of those games that when you start playing and getting into it, it can be very addicting. It's one of those games that are hard to put down, and I can see why. Like, I'm absolutely trash. I'm dog shit when it comes to Valorant, but I want to get good, as I've said previous. I'm going to sound like a broken record. Yeah, I really want to get good. I might put it down eventually. Like, you know, I might get so sick of it that it's just ruining my life. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm slowly getting better. Even if it's one step forward, two steps back, that's how I feel like I'm progressing at the moment. But yeah, we've just had is it the Gamescom kind of event happening? I've been checking out a few of the big games that have already been previously announced, and they've been showing, you know, the gameplay overviews and stuff like that. So we've got a few things to look forward to as well. There's been also some games that have not been announced, and just a few games that I grabbed my attention. I'm not going to name every single game because there have been quite a few games announced and stuff like that. But a few that have come to mind: Mafia: The Old Country. We've got a new Mafia game coming out. Now, I've never played a Mafia game. I know Jackson has played one or two Mafia games. I believe he played I want to say the newest one, oldest one, which was Mafia 3 or 4, whichever one it was. And I heard he enjoyed that, so I might have to check out Mafia. I've never played a Mafia game. But yeah, Mafia: The Old Country. This one's in Sicily, I believe it said. So yeah, we got a bit of a teaser trailer. No gameplay yet. I believe it's only early. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I might check it out. We'll see how we go with that. So the next one on my list was Sniper Elite Resistance. This one's an interesting one. I've played Sniper Elite. Oh man, I've played Sniper Elite. It's either 2 or 3. Many years ago. Played it on my channel. Had a lot of fun with that. Didn't think I'd have as much fun. But I really enjoyed it. And then I played was it Sniper Elite 4 or 5? On my channel not that long ago. It would be a couple of years ago now. A year or so. I really enjoyed that as well for as long as I played it. I didn't complete it. I think I dropped it on like the second level or something, second mission, something like that. But yeah, this one looks to be like it's you're fighting with the resistance as well. I'll have to look into it. But I mean, they know. I don't believe it's a AAA game. It doesn't look AAA to me. It looks like a bit of a downgrade in all honesty, just by the trailer and the graphics. Hopefully I'm wrong though. Hopefully it plays better and stuff like that. But yeah, if there's an invasion mode or whatever they called it in the last game, where you invade another person's game, I'll definitely might try that out because I have seen people play it and it definitely looks fun. So yeah, see how we go with that. It's coming out next year, I believe. So yeah, see how we go. Might check it out. Next up on the list, Dying Light: The Beast. So when I first saw this, I was very excited. I thought it was a third Dying Light game coming out, but it is DLC. So yeah, the trailer looked pretty cool. We did see a bit of gameplay in it. So it's DLC for the second game, but you're playing as Kyle Crane. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, it's not like they would do DLC for the first game because that would be really weird. Really enjoyed Dying Light 2. I think Dying Light, the first game, is definitely one of my favorite zombie games up there. I had a lot of fun with Dying Light 2. I never completed it. I think it's just one of those games where I got a bit bored with it. And I think a lot of people feel the same way as well. But yeah, I haven't played with all the updates and stuff yet, so maybe I could jump back into that one day. Maybe not. No promises. But yeah, this DLC looks really cool. I don't know how big it is. I'll have to look into it and stuff. Yeah, but the trailer definitely got my attention, and I think it's something the fans have wanted for a long time. Kyle Crane kind of being the beast and stuff like that with all the... I don't know too much about the lore, and I haven't, even though I've played the first one, I haven't cared too much about the story. But yeah, we'll see how we go with that. And I don't buy a lot of DLCs. I don't pick up a lot of expansions and DLCs. It's pretty rare these days. Just because I think there's not one game that I love to death that much. Like, don't get me wrong, I have bought a few DLCs. One comes to mind. Destiny 1, I bought I actually can't remember. It was the Witch Queen or something like that. But yeah, it was one of those really, really early days. I think it was my first time buying a DLC, actually. So, yeah, we'll see how we go with Dying Light: The Beast. One of the first announcements that was announced at Gamescom, I believe, Borderlands 4. Now, when it comes to Borderlands, I have played Borderlands 3, I've played Borderlands 2, but I played Borderlands 3 on my channel, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I am not the biggest Borderlands enjoyer, not the biggest Borderlands fan by any means. I know Jackson, he likes some Borderlands. He used to play quite a lot on the Xbox 360. So, and we did play a bit with each other as well. No Diddy. But yeah, we'll see what Borderlands 4 is like. It is coming out next year, I believe. Well, it's slated for next year. So hopefully no delays, and hopefully we get a trailer soon enough. We could even get a trailer at the Game Awards this year. So, yeah, we've got that to look forward to as well. So, yeah. Next up on the list, we have Ark Raiders. Now, by no means have I... It hasn't even been on my list. This game has kind of popped up and then disappeared for a while and then kind of popped up again, and I guess they announced that it's coming next year. So the thing, like when I first saw this game, I was like, it's okay. It's one of these 4-player co-op kind of open world raid games or dungeon games where you fight enemies to a boss, you get gear and kind of level up and RPG kind of thing. But no, it's an extraction shooter. I don't think I knew it was an extraction shooter. I think for those who listened to the last episode or the episode before that, I am heavily into extraction shooters, even though I don't play a lot of them. I wish I could. It's just that I play Xbox, and there aren't too many extraction shooters on there. So I like to watch people playing extraction shooters. It gets me excited for them. I think the main one I was playing was DMZ, but then that kind of it went the way it went. So when Delta Force comes out for Xbox, and when Arena Breakout comes to Xbox, if they do, Delta Force will. Not too sure about Arena Breakout, but it should. I will definitely be checking out those games and hopefully reinvent my love for extraction shooters. So I'm also looking forward to Marathon as well when that comes out. So we'll see what Arc Raiders is about. It's an extraction shooter, so that's got me hyped already. We have seen a little tiny glimpses of gameplay within the trailers that have come out. So hopefully we'll see more on that soon. And then last but not least, we have Black Ops 6. I've talked about this before. They'll be showing off some multiplayer, even though we've seen... I mean, you've kind of got to be living under a rock at this point. There have been multiple multiplayer. Even before I started recording this, I was just scrolling YouTube, and I see a Black Ops 6 multiplayer thumbnail. Something to do with... it was showing off all SMG gameplay, stuff like that. So multiplayer has been shown so many times. So I think they're just going to show a fancy trailer, just emphasizing the Omni movement and stuff like that. Maybe some maps and stuff. They'll also be showing off some Warzone. I'll be actually tuning into that. I haven't played Warzone for quite a while. I'm a DMZ guy, so I don't know if they'll necessarily do anything different. I mean, they're doing a deep dive thing, so they could show improvements, and they'll be showing a new map. I did see that, so that'll be pretty cool. So we'll see how we go with Warzone. I'll definitely be checking it out once it comes out, so there's that. And then as well, zombies. So they'll be showing off the Liberty Falls map. We saw the glimpse of that last trailer when they showed off the Terminus Island, I believe. So as I'm recording, that will be in 3 days, I believe. 3 days. So yeah. So I believe that's all we have for the gaming news. Hopefully we'll get a lot more gaming news coming up in the next couple of weeks. Gamescom did release quite a few trailers. Obviously, I'm not interested in all of them, but maybe I'll talk about some more next week. And I'm not too sure if the event has finished or if it's still going on. But we'll see what happens soon. All right, so this last segment we have, what we like to do is do our picks for next week's fights. Just going to make sure they are next week. But yeah. So I just realized there are no fights for next week. So what we'll do is we will make the picks now, and then maybe we'll have an episode next week where I don't know, we just don't do the picks. I actually don't know. Well, I mean, I'm supposed to record. It'll be this Sunday actually, because it's Monday today. So we'll see what happens. But we'll do the picks now. So the next fight, not next week's fight, but the next fight card, we have another fight night between Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. We'll start off with the prelims. So a very, very quick one. We've got Andre Petrosky versus Dylan Budka. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I don't know Dylan. I know Andre. I don't really like Andre. I'm going to go Dylan. Just for the fact that I don't like Andre. Next fight, we'll go with the flyweights. We'll go Felipe Dos Santos versus Andre Lima. Really fun fight. Really fun flyweight fight. Bit of a tongue twister. Man, this is a really hard one. I feel like Felipe has nothing but bangers. And what about Andre? Let me just check out Andre. Is this the... It could be Andre's first time in the UFC. No, it's his third time. Okay. I'm going to go with... Oh, man. This one's hard, dude. I'm going to go Felipe. I'm doing it. I just have to. That's a barn burner, but yeah. Next one we've got is light heavyweight on the prelims. Ryan Spann versus Ovince St. Preux, OSP. Don't really like any fighters. OSP has been in the UFC for far too long. He needs to retire. So I've got Ryan Superman Spann on that one. I think he'll get OSP up pretty easy. Hey, if Ryan Spann can knock out Dominic Reyes, then he can definitely knock out OSP. So yeah, there's that. All right, moving on to the main card. We've got a fun one here to start off with. Lightweight, Trevor Peake versus Yanal Ashmouse. Well, that's a really hard name to pronounce. Anyway, I don't really know him, but I like Ashmouse. I'm butchering his name, and I apologize. Trevor Peake hits like a truck, I believe. He has a really weird fighting stance. I'm only remembering his hammer fists that he's done in the UFC, so those were cool to see. I'm going to go with could be anyone's fight, but I'm going to go with Yanal for that one. Don't quote me on how to pronounce his name. I do apologize. Next fight we've got is Matt Schnell versus Alessandro Costa. I feel like I do know Costa, but I'm just not recognizing the name. And from what I saw of Matt Schnell last time, he got knocked out by my boy Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg, Astro Boy. I feel like Matt's kind of fallen off. He can be very dangerous. Like, he had one of the most insane comebacks in his recent fights. I cannot for the life of me remember who he... I think it was against Sumu Daji. I think. Yeah, it was against Sumu Daji, so that was one of the most insane comebacks. We're going to go with Costa this one. I feel like Costa can do a lot of work to Matt, so we'll go Costa. I could be very much wrong. Next up on the list, we've got a featherweight bout. Steve Garcia and Kyle Nelson. Don't really like any of these guys. I've seen them fight both. I've seen them both fight a lot of times. Kyle Nelson, I believe, has only just got a recent win. That was against Bill Algeo. Well, apparently he's on a 3-fight win streak, so there's that. What about Steve? Steve's been doing well. Yeah, they both have. Man. Have they both got the exact same record? That's insane. 16-5. Man. I'm going to go with Kyle. I feel like Steve's going to win that, but I'm going to go with Kyle. Why not? Quickly, not very interested in this one, but we'll go with the co-main. Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva. I'm gonna go with Jessica. I think she can get it done. Possibly also Natalia as well. We'll go Jessica. Jessica. Then last but not least, we have the main event: Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. I like these guys. I like both these guys a lot. I don't like Gilbert as much as I used to. Obviously, I'm very biased because he lost to Jack Della Maddalena, and I absolutely love Jack Della. This one's a hard one too. I'm leaning towards Sean, but Gilbert could... Gilbert needs the win. He absolutely does. Sean's not in the worst position, but I think Sean takes it. Yeah, I'm going to confirm Sean takes it. That's just me. But yeah. So we'll wrap the episode up there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. If you do have any questions for me or Jackson, please leave them down below, and we'll answer them as best we can. But yeah, let me know your guys' picks for the next fight night, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you like what you saw. I will see you for the next video I make. Peace.